What's up, everybody? We're back with Fifth Down Territory. It's Lamb, Bahookie, and we got a guest here, Dan Baker from Fantasy Rant.
Let's
And we're
go.
past the trade deadline. We are officially past the trade deadline. A lot of stuff happened today. It was actually quite an active day for deadline talk. So we're going to get into it. And remember, this is presented by Stadium Rant. Go click that bell, subscribe, like, comment. And, we're going to do our thing. Make sure you do your thing as listeners and all that good stuff. So, Blake, how about you? What was your most impactful trade of the day? You scallywag.
So scallywag, I see what you did there. Clever. We had 6 total trades go through today. We had the 2 pass rushers from Washington. We both go. Montez Sweat to the Bears. Chase Young to the Niners. That one right there is the biggest one of the day to me. Is Chase Young to the Niners, putting him on the other side of Nick Bosa. It just sounds like nightmare fuel for anybody. I'm very happy with the move that my Buffalo Bills made, getting Rasul Douglas, and I'd be lying if I said I was really familiar with him prior to today. But obviously, all kinds of film popped up, and I was consuming it at a very high rate. And it looks like we got a pretty good guy. He's 6'2", very good size for a cornerback. And shoot, I hope we can get him on the field this coming Sunday night to help us out with T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, because even if we use him rotationally, man, he sounds like he's an interception machine. A lot of Packers fans were really upset about him leaving. I feel like that's usually a good way to gauge how well you did on a trade, is based on how the opposing fan base reacts. And a lot of Packers fans are really upset to see this guy go. And he's kind of like a mid-level money guy. And Packers kind of have to accept that they're not really going to be competitive this year. And this is it fills a need with Tre'Davious White going down, and he might not be in. And this also means that the book isn't completely closed on Tre'Davious White. Had we got Jalen Johnson, that would have been like probably a big money long-term deal, and probably would mean pretty much the end of Trey White's career in Buffalo. So maybe there's still a chance that Trey White does come back at the end of the second half of next year.
Word. Yeah. So the way you got to look the way I kind of look at that is it was a third round pick and you got a fifth round pick back, correct?
So basically like a fourth round kind of.
It was a similar compensation package for what the Niners gave up for Chase Young there. So it's like the Bills must really believe in this player to kind of give up a third round. You also get a fifth round back. You've had a decent success.
Bills also, for what it's worth stating, the Bills also have a compensatory third round pick coming back to them from Tremaine Edmonds walking in free agency. So they had an extra third round pick. They're going into this draft with 10. It was 10 picks. Now it's 9 picks. They're probably not. They're not going to have that many roster spots, so they can afford.
Right, you don't lose a draft pick overall, and right now Douglas is rated the 18th overall coverage corner by PFF. Not too bad to add, especially when you lose Trey White. He's just can't stay on the field. You guys need a guy, and you went and got one. I think it's probably the weak spot in the Bills' defense, so big move for them.
Yeah. What's your most impactful move here, Dan?
With Chase Young with Chase Young off the board, I maybe this is a bit of a homer pick, but Donovan Peoples-Jones going to the Lions, I think, is huge for them. They really needed a strong second wide receiver. Jameson Williams has been a great field stretcher, but he hasn't proven to be consistent at all. Josh Reynolds, he's a solid 3 if you want him, but I think Donovan Peoples-Jones has the talent and the youth to make an impact on this team. And then on top of it, he's going into his contract year. He's only 24 years old. If he performs well for the rest of the season, they're going to be able to extend him for not a ton of money. I think it's a really smart move on their part and can be more impactful than some people are thinking also trying to don't tell Evan, but I'm trying to sneak in some some waiver bids on this guy before people wisen up.
Yeah, I have a lot of exposure to DPJ in some of my deeper leagues, and he's just been kind of sitting there and sitting there and sitting there. So I'm really hoping this kind of gives him an uptick in usage, gets him on the. He was on the field in Cleveland. They just weren't throwing him the football. I just
Right.
like it. It just does like he has size, he's fast, and he has good hands. He's a good boundary like wide receiver. He's got great
Yeah.
body control.
Yeah.
He slots right in there as like a nice possession receiver and a contested catch guy, an offense that doesn't really have that. So yeah, I like
Yeah.
it a lot.
Yeah.
So my pick actually is Ezra Cleveland getting traded from the Vikings, going to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Dan, you might not know this, but Bahookie, you do know this. I have a ticket for Trevor Lawrence to win MVP, which is like not totally dead. It's like,
especially
kind of surviving.
they're going on into their bye week this week, so extra week for him to get acclimated, and they've got San Francisco coming to town after the bye week, and Jacksonville is definitely the hotter team right now. That's like not let's just an objective thing to say, and if they're able to put a beat down on San Francisco or even just get a win at all, they're going to be sitting at 7-2. One of the Chiefs and Dolphins has to lose, so one of those teams is going to have a third loss. Baltimore has got Seattle this week and could potentially have a third loss, so they could very well be one of the top two teams in the AFC coming off of their bye. And
And it really will be a great test for Trevor Lawrence because, like, right now it's been ETN show for the last 3-4 weeks. But the 49ers are great at stopping the run, where they let up some yards is through the air. So I'm looking forward to seeing Trevor Lawrence getting tested this upcoming week 10.
I thought that. I mean, I really think that he got tested in that Thursday night game against the Saints. He was banged up. They had they were in a different country for 17 straight days. Elected not to take the bye. Come back. He's questionable all week, and he goes and hangs it up on the Saints. He didn't have a huge game, but he used his legs. He was more involved running the football. I think adding to his protection is something that a lot of people aren't going to talk about due to the big names that got traded, Chase Young and Montez Sweat. But I think that's a possible Super Bowl, potential Super Bowl team getting another piece to try and keep Lawrence upright, healthy. And right now he's not playing explosive ball, but he's playing smart ball for the most part. He's not really turning the ball over. He's doing what he has to do in the set of the offense. Yeah, ETN's been doing a lot of work, but you got to let him do the work if he's going to do it like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, I think Cleveland is actually a really solid guard. I don't know, not really sure why Minnesota decided to trade him. I don't think he's been injured. He might not be having the best year, but like he has solid production. He's young, and maybe they spun out on a contract situation. But yeah, I like that move for the Jacksonville Jaguars quite a lot. Quite a lot. A lot of things happened today. I mean, it was one of the more active days of trade deadline stuff happening for the NFL. Typically, the NFL doesn't have a massive, day at the trade deadline. Typically, that's the
last
NBA.
year's was a little bit bigger. I think they had like 10 trades last year. That was the most ever though. So and there were 6, and there were a few more that didn't go through. I mean, Jalen Johnson, people were talking about the last 2 days. Obviously, no movement with DeAndre Hopkins or Devontae Adams. Devontae Adams held hostage. It sounds like.
Yeah, that quote coming out of Las Vegas. No way in hell we're trading him.
It's just I feel like it's just a move that Mark Davis wouldn't do because that's a move that Al Davis wouldn't do, and it's just kind of like a power thing. If I'm being completely honest, but it is what it is. Maybe it'll be
Josh McDaniels holding on to the thread of hope he has to maintain his job.
Pretty
get rid
much.
of Devontae, it's not
They need him if they're going to win any games. But and
They're not gonna
I
win
also
much
saw a
without
report that
the line.
Adoree Jackson, because almost got traded to the Niners, because apparently the Niners were in on Rasul Douglas, and the Bills came in at the last second and outbid them, and there was only like 30 minutes left, and then the Niners went to the Giants and worked out a deal with Adoree Jackson. The Giants weren't able to submit the paperwork to the NFL before the deadline, and that's why it didn't get done.
Oh man,
Why do they gotta wait till the last second? Why they gotta wait till the last second, man? Like, also, that's just such a Giants thing to be doing.
Yep.
Just not getting your paperwork in the time that you need to for a trade like that. Like,
but you know what? All right, it doesn't help the Niners. So and the Niners are good enough. Sheesh.
Yeah, they did what they needed to do today. Chase Young for a third? Like, really, Washington? A third? You're going to get a high second for Montez Sweat, and you're going to come back, which is great value. Then you're going to come back, and then you're gonna poop on that value by getting probably a late third for Chase Young. I don't make it make sense to me. I don't get it. It's not like they don't have cap space.
Confusing, but at the same time, like they're gonna he's on the contract year, so they're gonna get 9 more games out of him. I would rather take the third even than 9 more games out of Chase Young, especially when they're
see the Niners. I'm not saying it's gonna happen with the Niners, because I did pick them in preseason is one of my Super Bowl teams, and I still think that they do have the goods to be a Super Bowl team from whatever position. Even if they end up as a wild card team, like they're a team that just has to be playing their good ball at the end of the year, and they can beat anybody. They have the way their schedule is shaped up, and it seems that way with a lot of teams. The Eagles are running into a tough stretch. The Cowboys are going to be there's going to be a lot of really good teams playing against other good teams in this like second half of the season, and we'll see how a lot of these games shake out. But the Niners they have the potential, the way they've been going, to really fall apart in this back half of the year if they don't get it going soon.
One last thing about that. One last thing about that deal, then we'll get into our game picks and we can talk more about the Niners then. They're actually sending their comp third round pick that they got for losing their 2 coaches to the Commanders. That's the third round pick that they're sending. So it's definitely a late third. Like, probably between like 89 and 100.
Yeah, I heard around pick 100 is what people are expecting.
That's a tough look. That's a tough look, taking somebody 2 overall and then trading them for the 100th pick overall. It's not like Chase Young hadn't been good. He was injured for sure. He wasn't everything they thought. He's not Myles Garrett, not yet.
Sure.
But like, I didn't think he was a bust. But yeah, so let's kind of
quickly right before we move on, just touching on your number 1 trade there. Ezra Cleveland, 17th in pass blocking out of all guards and 13th in run blocking out of all guards. So, great move. They got Brandon Sheriff and Ezra Cleveland. I think that's really going to benefit ETN even more, and then obviously help that Trevor Lawrence case as well.
Yeah. So thank you for those numbers. It's like I watched it. Like, I got the eye test type of thing, but like that definitely helps solidify my argument to that. That's a big move for them, pretty much.
Yeah, that's huge.
But yeah,
especially later in the season, that's not one that's gonna maybe jump off the screen like this week or next week. But like when it comes to playoff time, and inevitably they have one or 2 of their offensive linemen that aren't full strength, having that swing guy is like that wins you games.
Right. Yeah. And another young guy that's in the last year of his contract. So another guy that they can extend easily if it works.
Word. So let's move on to Thursday Night Football. We got the Tennessee Titans going to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think they play in Pittsburgh. Let me just make sure here. Tennessee at Pittsburgh. Are we taking the often injured Kenny Pickett, or are we going with the newly crowned Will Levis, King of Tennessee? Dan, how about you go first as our guest?
Right now, I just don't think this Steeler offense is firing on all cylinders. Their run game is atrocious. Tennessee is really good at stopping the run. And then Pickett has not looked like preseason Kenny Pickett. And then if they start Mitch Trubisky, it's an easy Tennessee upset for me. So if Pickett's not performing at 100% and he already doesn't look like he's playing his best ball, I'm going with Tennessee to win this one.
Word. Bahookie, what do you think?
Yeah, this has been a recurring thing for me. Tennessee is always the team that I pick incorrectly because I never pick them to win ever. Especially early. I remember earlier this year when they beat the Bengals. I was like, well, you know what? I can live with that because I was never picking Tennessee to beat the Bengals. And yeah, so this one is a tough one to pick because of the quarterbacks. I think the way the money is looking right now, like close to 70% of the money is on or 59% of the money is on the Steelers -3 right now. And so it's just based on who the question marks are who the quarterbacks are, but it sounds like it's probably Will Levis and Kenny Pickett. I'm going to take the Steelers here. I trust Mike Tomlin. I trust Mike Vrabel too, but I don't know. I'm going Steelers. Steelers is my final answer.
So yeah, I'm gonna rip Shane's one here now. He's picking the Titans over the Steelers. He said Will Levis impressed in his debut, and Louis can attest one of the worst things a team can face is a rookie quarterback who's having success and you've never played against. Well, Pittsburgh defense is better than Atlanta. I like Tennessee on a short week opposed to the Steelers, whose QB is dealing with an injury. So I definitely get the Tennessee pick there. I'm going to put him down for Tennessee on that. And I'm going to go ahead and pick the Steelers because I think TJ Watt's going to blow this game right out of the water. I think like he just, Levis had a great game, but again, that's somebody you don't have any type of film on. You don't have any type of tendencies on. Mike Tomlin, I think he's going to get his defense ready to play at home, coming off a loss. This is a Mike Tomlin screaming spot for me. Yeah, give me Pittsburgh, and it's going to be a good. I think this is going to be a better game than people expect. So
yeah,
not going to be a pretty game. It's going to be an ugly game, but it's going to be a better game than people expect.
Right. Derrick Henry could definitely blow this up too. Right now, Pittsburgh is, let's see here, 27th against the run in terms of rushing yards allowed. So hoping to see Derrick Henry getting it going.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's move on to our next game, and we are going to Germany for this one. 9:30 a.m. Marquee matchup here.
This is going to be one of the best
be on the
NFL Sundays of the year. There's literally like a primetime matchup in every single time slot.
Of course, this is the week I'm going to the Patriots game, going to the Pats Commanders. So. But I will be in a box. I didn't buy these tickets. I got gifted the tickets. It was a gift. Yeah. So right. I'm not Mr. Money Pants over here. But yeah, so as much as I'd like to be that for Halloween and on, but
Mr. Money Pants.
But yeah, so Kansas City, Miami, in Germany. Blake, who do you got, buddy?
Got to take Kansas City here. And you can make the argument for the Dolphins too, because the Dolphins have been a team who've consistently scored points. Kansas City has not been that. However, they're coming off a loss here, which I think does not bode well for Miami going into this game. And this is a big game. This is like a game of like magnitude playing in Frankfurt. And Kansas City has been in more of those games, and and this is gonna have like a playoff type game atmosphere. Like it's gonna be big, and everyone's gonna be watching it. People literally all over in Europe too. So that type of experience is gonna help. But what it really comes down to with Miami, their two losses are against Philly and Buffalo, and which have something in common with Kansas City. But all three teams have great defenses, specifically great defensive lines. And the Kansas City defensive line is going to manhandle this Miami offensive line. And that's really what this Miami team's limitation is. And they're going to be able to continue to like put numbers up consistently against like mediocre teams and in teams that they match up better with on the on the line of scrimmage. But when it gets to like playoff time and they're going against these like, like conference championship like type teams, they're gonna get blown up at the line of scrimmage. And Tua gets taken off of his spot, and once he gets taken off of his first read, he goes from being a 77% completion percentage to being like a 55% completion percentage.
Very interesting.
So this offense has been built for there's always got people going full speed before the snap. So he needs to get to his first read, and then he gets the ball out faster than anyone, like 2.5, 2.6 seconds, because he's always going to his first read. But if you get him off of his spot and then he has to go to a second read, like he becomes an average at best quarterback. So that's the game, and that's what I expect. That's what I expect to happen. Is Kansas City's defense to really show up and for Miami to struggle offensively in this game, and Kansas City's championship pedigree is going to be what's going to win them this game in the fourth quarter by probably 10 or 11 points.
Yeah, I'm picking Kansas City here as well. If they had won the game against the Broncos, I'd be a little bit more timid to take them here in this spot because Mahomes is coming off a flu game. He played in the cold. It didn't help. It's kind of a weird schedule for them because they have to go overseas, but that defense is going to be pissed off. That offense is going to be pissed off. And Andy Reid, quite frankly, might be pissed off eating like 6 cheeseburgers before that game. So, he's going to get that fuel in there. And they're going to come out there and they'll be like, "Oh, you think you're the new offense? I'm going to do the same stuff with lesser players." I think that Chris Jones, like you said, defensive line versus offensive line. Chris Jones is going to have
this is going to be a big Chris Jones game.
One of those types of performances that like you're like, oh yeah, we should definitely be paying this guy the money we're paying this guy. So that's kind of how I feel there. I'm gonna read Shane's real quick. He's taking the Dolphins. He goes, I don't know whose idea it was to play this game in Germany while most of us are sleeping. I especially don't like Mahomes coming off the flu game in the cold, having to fly overseas, and he's like, I'm supposed to believe he's ready to go after all that. He says, give him Dolphins here. So, Dan, what do you think?
So I think it's a great game, like we were touching on. It's going to be strength against strength. Right now, Miami has the most passing yards in the league, and Kansas City is allowing the second least. I think if the Dolphins are able to get Xavier Howard back and having Jalen Ramsey debut gets a pick six, it's a big return for Jalen Ramsey. But I am going to stick with the Chiefs. They're just the more complete team right now. I think that if they're able to upset Tua early in the pocket, the thing is Tua gets rid of the ball quicker than any quarterback in the league right now. So they're not going to have a ton of opportunities to do that. But if they are able to shake them up a little bit, I just think that the Chiefs all around are the better team. So I'm going to take the Chiefs here.
Word. All right. I'm going to Ravens playing. They are playing, one sec here. Baltimore is home in this game. Seattle is traveling to Baltimore. I'm going to go ahead and go with the Ravens. I've doubted the Ravens for a little bit here, but Lamar seems to be playing at a very high level. Their defense is Roquan Smith and Patrick Queen. They're getting healthy, and Gus Edwards is kind of turning it on again. He was a really good player before. I think he tore his ACL or Achilles a couple years ago, and he's finally looking like the player that he was before that happened. I think the offensive line is really good, and just give me the Ravens here. I think that Lamar is just too much of a cheat code for that defense to kind of handle. Whenever you think you have him pegged down, he just slithers away and does something ridiculous, joystick movement type of stuff, and it's just like, come on, man. So give me the Ravens there in that game. Dan, you want to go next?
Yeah, it was an ACL for Gus Edwards because I had J.K. Dobbins injure his ACL. I was like, sweet, I got Gus on my backup on my dynasty roster. Uh, down to an ACL a week later.
Yeah,
So yeah, I'm
right
also
after.
taking. Yeah, I'll just keep it short and sweet. I'm definitely taking the Ravens. It was a close game against with Seahawks against the Browns with freaking PJ Walker starting. So this is gonna be a big upgrade in what they have to go up against. I'm taking the Ravens.
I mean, last 3 weeks, the Seahawks have played the Giants, the Cardinals, and the
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 Browns with the
PJ
backup.
Walker Browns. So yeah,
Yep.
this is definitely going to be like a whoa. That's an offense.
Right.
Those are that's different. Um. So yeah, Blake, what do you think?
Yeah, it looks like it's a sweep here. I'm also going Ravens. I do think the Seahawks have a legitimate chance to win this game. It's like a 5.5 point spread, I want to say right now, and most of the points is on, or most of the money right now is actually on the Seahawks plus 5.5 right now. But that's actually a sizable spread. That doesn't mean that they're the favored. People just like that deal better.
Right.
And but yeah, the brand of football that Lamar Jackson is playing right now, it's pretty hard to pick against that. They're at home. I think this will be a good one. But yeah, I'm gonna take the Ravens by probably about 10 points here.
Clean sweep. Shane says Ravens too. Quietly, Baltimore has become arguably the best team in the AFC according to Shane. I don't think he's wrong. With erroneous defense coupled with the combination of Lamar Jackson, Todd Monken on the offense, health is the only thing getting in the way from this team making a championship appearance. So yeah, I can. Yeah, the defense has a lot of studs on it. Just a lot of really good linebackers. They have some good cornerbacks. Safeties playing really well. I like their defensive style. Yeah, so Ravens across the board for us. So that means the Seahawks are probably going to win this game.
Mhm.
Moving on, Dan, it's your Browns playing the Cardinals. I believe the Browns are home. Hit us with it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm taking the Browns here. It's not even a homer pick. It's because they're starting Clayton Tune.
Yeah.
If they had Joshua Dobbs, small revenge narrative, getting rid of him before the off season started. But no, it's Clayton Tune. We're gonna wreck that offensive line, and their defense isn't great either. So I think we just run the ball down their throats all day long.
Myles Garrett. End of conversation.
Yep.
Next game for me.
Yeah, this is another one like kind of like the Ravens win. I think the Cardinals are +8 in this, and money the money is on that +8, but I'm not. I'm on the Browns here.
Yeah, I like that. Shane is also on the Browns. He said, looks like rookie Clayton Tune is going to start this game, and could not have been a worse time for him to debut against top scoring defense in the league, even with XFL MVP PJ Walker at quarterback. He's got the dogs pounding, and I'm gonna say Myles Garrett just goes ahead and like has like a 4 sack game. Just
Right.
I don't think that Paris Johnson Jr., their rookie, can handle that, dude. I don't think anybody on that offensive line, barely anybody in football,
Yeah,
can
nobody.
handle that.
Oh,
Right.
he looks even
Like,
more jacked lately. I don't know.
yeah,
He,
he's just a
he's
scary
always
dude.
he's always been massive, but I don't know. Like what I've seen lately, it's just like, oh my goodness.
I'm sure the NFL is about to send him another steroid test soon.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Yeah, just keep doing it. They just keep doing it for the kid.
Right.
Next is going to be Bucks Texans. Bahookie, why don't you go first?
I'm gonna take the Bucks here. I think that Baker did not play that bad against the Bills. He took care of the ball, and something I will say about Baker. He has this ability to like turn it up during the fourth quarter, and it also like I feel like at times begs the question like where was that the first 3 quarters, but I like what Baker is doing here at Tampa, and I like they're at 3-5 right now, but I mean the Falcons are in first place at 4-4. Do we believe in the Falcons? No. the Saints are a wild card team at 4-4. Do we believe in the Saints? Eh. So I think that this is a gotta have it win for the Bucks right here, and I feel like I was starting to believe in CJ Stroud and the Texans here, but I don't know. This team still has a ways to go, and I just feel like if you look at the individual matchups here, like the Bucks are just the better team all around.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take the Bucks as well here, but I'm not feeling very confident about it only because of the play calling that's going on for Tampa Bay. I think I think that it was they just tried to run the ball too much in that game, straight up. Like they tried to run the ball too much. It wasn't working. And it took them 3.5 quarters to figure it out and be like, oh, word, we should let Baker drop back and just kind of do his thing. And like, if you're waiting that long to make adjustments and to kind of adjust your game plan and try and play towards your opponent in the game that you're playing, that scares me a bit. I do think the Bucks have more talent, but I just need to see that switch kind of happen. Okay, the run game's not working. Okay, let's do some more screen passes. Let's get the ball out quicker, but like let's have the ball in Baker's hands if we can't run the ball effectively on first and second down. That way we can get into manageable third down, conversions instead of having it be 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 11, stuff like that. So give me the Bucks here, but I'd like to see a little bit cleaner of a game being called by the offensive coordinator. Dan, what do you think?
I was shocked to see that Houston's favored by 2.5 right now. That's pretty surprising. I am also taking the Bucks. I do think that again they're a more complete team. I will say that the Texans have been throwing the ball outside of this last week against the Panthers. They've been throwing the ball well. Right now, the Bucks are giving up the 28th most passing yards per game. So if the Bucks lose it in any way, it's going to be through big games through Nico Collins and Tank Dell. But right now, with them coming off of a loss to the defeated Panthers, I just don't see them bouncing back that quickly.
Yeah. Shane has the Bucks over the Texans as well. Tampa's O-line is a concern, but I like their matchup against the Texans off a 10-day break as opposed to Buffalo. CJ Stroud didn't look great last week, but bad things happen when Noah Brown is the leading receiver on your team. Even still, I like the rested Tampa team over a young Houston team still trying to find themselves. I like that line a lot, trying to find themselves. Like I like a lot of the things that Houston's been doing. But when you come off the bye and you lose to Bryce Young and that Panthers team, you're hurting my confidence in you quite a bit. You're hurting my confidence in you quite a bit.
Right. Carolina was one of the worst run defenses in the league, and they could not put up anything. Slightly.
Thank you for your pirate costume.
Love it.
And thanks, appreciate you.
So yeah, that's the Bucks Texans game. Now we have another kind of gross game here. Saints are playing the Bears here. So I'm gonna do this one first. I'm gonna say if Justin Fields plays, give me the Bears. If Justin Fields doesn't play, give me the Saints. So I'm gonna mark myself down as the Saints for now. But if that swings in the week and Justin Fields does start, I have right to change it because I said it on the show.
Yeah. Right now, they do say that Banton's starting as of right
now.
Yeah,
I have Justin Fields on one of my fantasy teams, and he's out this week.
Yeah, so
I'm being forced to go with Jimmy G again, and I almost want to put like a running back in that super flex position.
Yeah, you almost might as well. But the Saints have a really good defense. I mean, I know they just gave up 27 points to the Colts, but to be fair, the Colts are the only team in the NFL this year who scored 20 points or more in every single game they played this year. So
wow.
do with that as what you will. I like the Bears what they're kind of doing. I mean, it's just I feel like they just came out flat against the Chargers. Chargers are a better team. Saints are a better team. So yeah, give me the Saints if Justin Fields doesn't play. Alvin Kamara might just tear this defense up by himself.
Yep.
But yeah. Also, Taysom Hill. Shout out to Taysom Hill. Just I threw him in a couple of tight end spots this week, and
The humans.
big he just does everything. But yeah. So Dan, what do you think about the game?
It's an easy Saints pick here. If it was with the spread, it'd be a little bit closer, but I think they even cover, what was it, 8.5 points, 7.5 points. I think they cover that.
Yeah.
So easy Saints here.
Yep. Yes, it's Saints here. The Saints are competing to win their division. What are the Chicago Bears competing for exactly? Being the first team to ever pick 1-2.
Yeah, right.
That'd be pretty sick for them.
I mean, that would be kind of sick.
On pace.
They absolutely should trade the number one overall
even
pick.
For sure.
And again, I have Justin Fields on one of my fantasy teams. I know what a dynamic playmaker he is, specifically when it's in garbage time and his team is down by 20 points. But anyways, it's the Saints here, man. Yeah, I picked them to win this division. I know the Falcons are in first place. I think it's gonna end it, and the Bucs are better than I was expecting them to be. I think it's gonna be between the Bucs and the Saints at the end of the year for this division.
Word. Shane says Saints over Bears here. He says he loves the trade of Montez Sweat to Chicago, but New Orleans is quietly playing some very quality ball on both sides of the field. If Justin Fields are playing, I give Chicago a chance, but I expect the Saints front seven to turn Tyson Bagent into Tyson's chicken.
That's a good line.
That's tough, Shane. That's tough. I know you rehearsed that one in the mirror trying to come out and say it, but I did it for you. I hope I deliver the line with some sort of justice for you, buddy. Last week we had impressions. This week we have impersonations. I don't know if you want to make a difference in that, but I don't think there is a difference. So yeah, next game we have is Falcons versus Vikings.
This is a yucky.
Yeah,
Taylor, give me Taylor Heineke rallying the boys to get a dub here. If Desmond Ritter starts, I don't really want it. I don't like Desmond Ritter. Not a Desmond Ritter fan.
I don't even want to pick this game, man. Like it's just.
Yeah.
Also, Arthur Smith, man. He ain't.
I'm gonna take Heineke coming in here in relief. Heineke thrives in this role, honestly, Heineke could win this job. Like, how much is it really going to take for him to win this job? They beat a Vikings team who the Vikings are currently in playoff position. I'm going to take the Falcons. And you were talking about how you didn't feel good about your Bucks pick earlier. This is the one that I don't feel good at all about. But I'm going to take the Falcons in this scenario.
Bahookie got fans. Jack Sparrow.
What? Who's on that? Jack Sparrow.
We need the run. We need the Jack Sparrow run.
I gotta try dirt. Oh, he'll be doing that run later on. Don't you worry.
Oh man.
But yeah, so just I hate doing it, but yeah, I'm taking the Falcons as well. Kirk Cousins was playing. This would be an easy smash Vikings spot for me because it's a 1:00 game. Dan, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm also taking the Falcons. They haven't committed to Taylor Heineke yet. That's an Arthur Smith move. He'll never do anything that benefits fantasy players. But yeah,
quarterback.
Right.
Well, he doesn't seem to understand his fantasy points equals
Kyle Pitts is more likely to throw the ball than to actually.
Right. How about that decision to right? How about that decision to toss the ball to Jonnu Smith, throw the ball to Pruitt? They have Kyle Pitts blocking in the meantime.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
You're giving me an aneurysm. You're giving me an aneurysm. Honestly, I called the Bijan touchdown before it happened. I'm sitting there watching it. I see them motion in. I go, crack toss left, crack toss left, crack toss left. And he threw the crack toss left. And I was like, oh, what do you know? It worked. You do the thing that's supposed to work, man. It works.
Oh man, it's just ridiculous. I mean, they draft Bijan in top 10 picks. He's got 1 rushing touchdown on the season. The year before, all they did was run the ball. I just don't understand the thought process. However, I do think the Falcons still continue to overperform based on their overall roster. I do hope that Heineke gets to start. 20 points in 1 half compared to Ritter's 3 points in the first half. He's actually willing to push the ball downfield. Really hoping Heineke gets that start and is able to take advantage of some of the studs they got on that offense. But we'll see how it goes.
Shane says Falcons over Vikings here. Who would have thought Kirk Cousins would cause this big of a swing? But he's had a great year, and it sucks he went down just as they're getting hot. Well, he doesn't trust Atlanta's QB dilemma. He trusts them more than the Vikings' QB problems. So,
yeah.
Give him the Falcons as well.
Right.
Packers,
I haven't heard anything about the obviously Joshua Dobbs gets traded to the Vikings. I highly doubt he's ready to start this game.
1 week. Yeah, it's probably Jaron Hall.
It's got to be Jaron Hall.
I saw what's it called? Who's their coach?
Nick
Kevin O'Connell said that Jaron Hall will be starting that game.
Okay. Yeah. So knowing that, there's a reason he's a 5th round pick in not the best quarterback draft. Obviously we had the top 3 guys go in the top 4 picks, but after that, big downfall for Will Levis and no notable quarterbacks after that. So
yeah. Next game, I'll do Shane's first because it's short and sweet. Packers v. Rams. He's taking the Packers. He goes, this game is gross. Would have been more fun to watch if Stafford were playing. I guess Green Bay. Maybe a tie. That's where he's at. Yeah. Dude, I don't know why. What's up with the Packers, man? They're just not playing good football right now. They seem to have all the pieces that they have 3 good wide receivers, another young, pretty decent tight end, 2 good running backs, and I still don't think Jordan Love's a bad quarterback. I think he's played pretty bad over the course of the past couple of weeks. But man, if Matt Stafford plays, give me the Rams. If not, I guess I'll take the Packers by 1 point. But yeah, Shane is right. This turned into a gross game.
Yeah, this is so disappointing that Stafford's not going to be here for this. I love watching Stafford go up against the Packers, even though he's obviously not a Lion anymore. I know he still's got that hate for him in his heart. Love watching him torch those guys, but I'm honestly, I do think I'm going to lean the Rams here. The Packers just look distraught. They don't know what they're doing. They're not utilizing the talent that they do have. Jordan Love doesn't look good. Aaron Jones has been healthy for a little bit now. He doesn't look great. A.J. Dillon's been inefficient all year. And the Rams defense has been overperforming. So I'm going to take the Rams. I hope we get to see Stetson Bennett because, who wants to watch Brett Rypien play 4 quarters? But, I think they're the better overall team right now. It's just obviously the quarterback's got to step up here.
Yeah. A.J. Dillon's a plotter. Bahookie, go.
Yeah. He's that tuba music when you're behind a big old person. That needs to be behind every A.J. Dillon highlight ever.
That'll be $6.
If I meet A.J. Dillon, though, I'll be very kind to him. That man's 250 solid muscle, so I ain't talking smack in person. Pick me up and gavel and throw me across the field.
But Rams Packers here. I think that the Rams selling Rasul Douglas tells you a lot about how they're viewing this season. If you're a buyer or a seller at the trade deadline, the Packers are distraught here. I think someone said that is a good word, and I feel like the Rams are at least an average team. I cannot say the same about the Packers. I'm going to take the Rams whether Matt Stafford plays or not. I'm going to say I'm cautiously optimistic that he does, but I don't really think it matters. I'm going to take the Rams here.
Word. Next game here. Actually, you know what, guys? I'm going to do something I haven't done yet. And this year, I am actually not going to take the Packers. I'm going to switch it while we're on the show and take the Rams. I didn't feel good about the pick going in. I feel
good.
better about it now.
You're still here. You're still on camera.
Yeah, so I'm gonna retract, reevaluate, and go Rams. So next game is Patriots and Commanders. Going to this game, so what you kind of said about Rasul Douglas, the Commanders look like they're like, all right, that was our
Bingo.
season.
Yep, I was gonna say the same thing. Took the words out of my mouth.
So we don't have to deal with two of their best pass rushers. I know they still have Jonathan Allen and De'Aaron Payne, which very well could wreck this game still. But I give me the Pats because now I want the Pats to lose. They won't lose. So yeah,
I agree. I got the Pats here. So literally same reason for pretty much as the last one. Yeah, the Commanders are punting on this whole season right now. They're leaning into that tank / rebuild, whatever you want to call it, pretty hard right here. And so something that people were saying about the Jets when they were tanking, I'll say about the Patriots is that people said the Jets are so bad that they can't even tank right. And that's kind of what's happening to the Patriots right now. And so I expect the Patriots to win this game by like 28-17.
We scored 28 points. I'm cool with that.
You did it against the Bills. If you did it against the Bills, you can do it against the Commanders without their two top pass rushers.
One would think, wouldn't they? One would think.
Kendrick
Bourne go for it.
ACL though is very no bueno, and that's really unfortunate. He was really that's unfortunate. He was really starting to play some good ball, and then he just goes down. That sucks. I'm sorry about that, man. I wouldn't wish that on anybody.
I was literally in the midst of writing an article about Kendrick Bourne being like the ultimate buy low target in fantasy.
Yeah, I got him in one of my leagues, and he was looking like, oh, this is going to be a guy who's going to be on my team the rest of the year.
Yeah.
And, nope.
He's turning into a solid flex play. I do like Demario Douglas starting to step up, see more snaps, but really they don't have anybody to throw the ball to. Hunter Henry has taken a huge step down since week 2. After that, they got Juju Smith-Schuster, Devontae Parker seeing his snaps decrease. They just don't have anyone to throw the ball to. And right now, Washington, I mean, they always play Philly tight, but they put up a couple of good games. Right now, I do think the Patriots defense far outshines the Commanders defense, but they need to move the ball somehow. So I do think that Washington's going to edge this game out just slightly. Think it's going to be an ugly one, though. I think the Patriots could rack up between 6 to 8 sacks in this game. Right now, Sam Howell's on pace for over 80 sacks on the season. That is nuts.
Yeah. Shane says, as somebody who had Sam Howell as their QB2 in the draft, I'm happy how he's looked so far, but Washington just admitted by trading away their top edge rushers that they're mailing in the season. The loss of Kendrick Bourne hurts the Patriots, but I still like them in a favorable matchup against an ailing Washington defense. Expect a lot of Mike Gesicki. He's been on a milk carton this whole season, so I would love to see him, him maybe make a couple of catches to, justify that $8 million price tag. Yeah, man, I get it. I was happy about that, and I can't even really enjoy it because I know it's just fraudulent. Next game though, because we're kind of running on the time limit here. Colts at Panthers. Is it at Panthers? Let me just make sure.
Yep.
Indy, yeah.
At
Colts
Carolina.
at Panthers here. Yeah. So Dan, why don't you take us for this one first?
Easy Indy pick here. I think that Jonathan Taylor truly steps into that 1A role. I see Jonathan Taylor eclipsing the 100 mark for the first time this year on the ground. And I think that the Carolina is going to show why they were a defeated team before this week or last week.
Yeah, give me Indy here. Like I said, they're the only team this whole season that scored over 20 points or more in every single game. I think they do it again. I think that's too many points for the Panthers. No. So simple math there for me. Bahookie, go for it.
Yeah, I think hammer Indy here with Indy coming off of the loss and the Panthers having any sort of illusion that they should feel good about themselves for any reason, just doesn't bode well for them because they shouldn't.
They're just desperately trying to not have the first pick overall because the Bears have their number one pick. Like that's so
Right.
tough. All right. Shane said Colts here. I don't know how, but the Colts have been able to stay in the race even with the loss of their starting quarterback. The Panthers got their first win of the season, but I still don't love their roster on the offensive side of the ball. The Colts have a lackluster offensive overall, but I expect this game to be a highly defensive, but he'll take Indy. Chris goes, let Zach Moss live a little longer. He is just hoping that his RB2 stays alive for a little bit in our Dynasty League.
Right.
Thank you for the comment, Fred. Zach Moss has shown a lot. I mean, I called him a plotter at the beginning of the season.
Yep.
I was wrong.
And
I was
he
wrong.
hurt for that one. So
He
maybe
hurt
now,
it.
maybe now that you're saying that about AJ Dillon's gonna start busting off 150-yard games.
Right.
That'd be cool. I mean, I have him in a few leagues that I was forced to take him in, so they're deep leagues. He does hit my starting roster, so I would definitely take it. Next game here is, come on, guys, Raiders and Giants. Ugh.
Oof.
Ugh.
Danny
another.
DeVito and Jimmy G.
I'll go. Can I go first?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, this is another yuck game. Daniel Jones might play, or it's either him or Tommy DeVito, but it's definitely not Tyrod Taylor. And
Jones is expected to play this week.
And the thing is,
I played Danny DeVito.
In spite of what we were all forced to watch last night, I still think Jimmy Garoppolo is a better quarterback than either of the people that the Giants would put out. In spite of that terrible, terrible performance we saw. And the other thing that I really noticed is, like, in spite of how terrible the Raiders were, they somehow kind of hung in that game with the Lions yesterday for a good chunk of it. I don't think the Giants would have done the same thing. Honestly. And Max Crosby, certified sicko. My goodness. That dude, you could put Max Crosby up against any edge rusher. He's entering that Nick Bosa conversation. And Nick Bosa is my favorite edge rusher in the NFL. And Max Crosby is really he's in that tier. I mean, he might not be quite as Bosa, but
he's 6'8", right?
What's up? He's 6'8".
Yeah, he's 6'8". I'm pretty sure.
I know that specific stat. That's a good one. But I'm just thinking I'm thinking about what he's going to do to the Giants' offensive line or lack thereof. And yeah, I'm going to take the Raiders in this game. And again, this is another one where it's just like, ugh.
Thank you, Alexandria. I wish it was Danny DeVito as quarterback as well. That would be a much better product. He'd be throwing rum hams all over the place.
Rum ham. No, rum ham.
Rum
ham.
Yeah, give me the Raiders here. I think they have better weapons. They have a better edge rusher. Kayvon Thibodeau, though, has kind of come into his own this season. He's playing really good ball, but the Giants just traded Leonard Williams. That's a huge piece of that defense, I think, and Josh Jacobs probably is going to have a big day against the Giants. Give me the Raiders. Dan, what do you think?
I'm going to go with the upset here. I'm going to actually take Giants with Daniel Jones coming back. The Giants have been playing great on the defensive side of the ball. They only allowed 14 points against the Bills, 7 against the Commanders, and 13 against the Jets in the last 3. I think they're starting to figure it out. I will say losing Leonard Williams at the trade deadline is really going to hurt their run defense. But right now, I think that the Giants are stepping it up just a little bit. The Raiders are looking abysmal right now. I do think on paper they should win the game, but I'm going to take the Giants with a gut call here.
Word.
Could be true. It's a good place to pick it up.
It's a weird gut feeling.
So, Shane says Raiders here. Jimmy G played the worst game I've ever seen him play, but I'll take him over DeVito because at this moment he's thinking DeVito is going to play. The Raiders will win this game due to pass rush against terrible Giants offensive line and a heavy dose of Josh Jacobs against the front seven that struggled at times to stop the run, allowing fourth most yards per carry at 4.8 per total.
Yeah.
With losing Leonard, that's with Leonard Williams,
right?
So that's tough. So he takes the Raiders there. Next game, possibly game of the week, Cowboys and Eagles. I'll go with Shane's pick first because you know it's going to be. He's taking the Cowboys. He said at the beginning of the season that Philly and Dallas would split the season series. More than likely, each team would win at home. However, seeing the Philadelphia secondary play as they have, plus an obviously hurt Jalen Hurts, pun intended, gives me confidence. Dak leads the NFL in QBR over the last 2 games, has the second highest completion percentage in the league at 71. The Eagles are middle of their gauntlet of their schedule, and Dallas always plays their best game against Philly. Expect a lot of points in this. He takes the Cowboys. But who can go for it?
Yeah, the Cowboys have a chance in this one. And I feel like picking this Cowboys-Eagles game is kind of similar to picking this Bills-Bengals game. I feel like they kind of both have like a similar feel where the home team is going to have a legitimate advantage and probably is the team that deserves to be picked. I think that both away teams have what it takes to win. And it's kind of like, can they do it? Like they can do it, but will they do it? And I feel like it's kind of where these teams are at. And I was saying the home teams were going to split this series preseason, and I'm going to pick the Eagles here at home, and I honestly don't feel that great about it. I think the Cowboys really do have a legitimate chance to pull the upset off. I just don't have it in me to make that pick right now.
Yeah, give me the Eagles as well. AJ Brown is currently playing like the best wide receiver in football. He's had over 120 yards in 6 straight games. The Cowboys, they lost Trayvon Diggs. That makes their secondary a little bit more vulnerable. The Eagles have a great offensive line that contain that pass rush a little bit more than other teams. The connection between Hurts and Brown is ridiculous. Brown's a cyborg. He's going to go up for another 130, 140 in this game. And maybe it's going to be a nice battle between he and CeeDee Lamb. I agree a lot of points are going to be scored, but give me the Eagles at home here. Dan, what do you think?
I guess I'm the odd man out again on this one. I'm going to take Dallas here. Eagles secondary is the Eagles secondary has just been hot trash. They are 32nd against the wide receiver position. I feel like we've started to see Brandon Cooks take a small step up. And last week, Dak looked good. I do think that that Pollard is going to be – he'll probably have his worst week on the ground. Eagles allowing the least amount of rushing yards on the year. But I think that this is going to be a pass-heavy game. We're going to see another game with Dak over 30, 35 attempts at least. And right now, Dallas's defense has been holding up even without Trey Diggs. But I do agree, AJ Brown, historic pace, 125 plus yards in 6 games. Crazy, going to be great.
It's amazing what the Cowboys offense can do when they game plan the game around CeeDee Lamb and not whatever the hell Mike McCarthy was doing beforehand. It's like, guys,
right?
This is your offense. Like, this is the dude you run the offense to. You have Tony Pollard as an ancillary piece. Yeah, Brandon Cooks is a 2. Michael Gallup is like an okay 3 receiver, and you have some decent tight ends. Run the game through CeeDee Lamb. It works. You scored 43. Keep doing the thing that
imagine
works.
That.
I don't get it with some of these head coaches, man. I don't get it. But that's kind of where I'm at on that game. Bengals and Bills. Marquee Sunday night football game. Bahookie, go first.
70% of the money right now is on the Bengals, plus 2.5 or minus 2.5 right now. So the general public is pretty much decided that the Bengals are going to win this game. I'm going to take the Bills. Shocker.
What a shocker.
And the Bengals are the team who have been playing the better football the last 3 weeks. I cannot deny that. What they have been putting. What the
That's an
Bengals
interior joke
on tape is really, really impressive. This game has to mean a little bit more to the Buffalo Bills. And unlike the Cowboys Eagles, they're not going to see them again in the regular season. And this game is going to have so many tiebreaker implications. And I'm going to say that the A1 Buffalo Bills show up and they win this game in like a 31-30 type of game.
I'm sorry, but the Bengals are winning this football game.
That's
Lou
fine.
Amaretto has your number. He does. He has the Chiefs number 2, and he had the 49ers. The guy shows up for these big games, and guess what? I don't think Rasul Douglas is helping y'all cover Jamar Chase. Just don't. So yeah, I don't think T. Higgins either, but he should definitely help with T. Higgins a little bit. But give me Cincy here. They're kind of hitting their midseason form, and that's a team that it's going to be a great game, though. It's going to be a great game.
They can't get blown out. They cannot get blown out in this game.
No, they definitely can't.
Yeah.
Bengals
I'm also going to be taking the Bengals here. I think
I expected this.
I mean, it's going to be a rematch of that big DeMar Hamlin game last year. A lot of emotions flying high. I could see the Bills absolutely come out and take that emotion and put it behind a W here. But right now, we saw Burrow look the healthiest he has all year. Last week, he had 43 rushing yards. So clearly the calf injury, I think, is a bit behind him. He put up great numbers against the tough 49ers defense. So right now, I'm going to take the Bengals with the Bills secondary looking a little bit beat up.
Joe Mixon also looked really good in the last game as well against the 49ers. So that's another thing he kind of got going against you. If the Pats can kind of dish you up on the ground, there are a lot more weapons to kind of be worried about. Shane goes, I honestly don't know what to make about Buffalo at this point. They have not played great in recent weeks with a big win over Tampa, likely helping their confidence. But this defense has not looked good so far after the injuries. I love the addition of Rasul Douglas at corner, but the Bengals are arguably the hottest team in the NFL right now. Joe Burrow is healthy and playing like an MVP, catching the Bills right at the right time. That's what he says about that game. He's going Bengals. This is Bahookie. You're 80-42 though, so chances are you're probably gonna get this one right. One of our listeners says Cincinnati as well, so it's you against the world, Mr. Jack Sparrow. Last game of the week, Monday Night Football. This game would have been a lot better if Aaron Rodgers was playing. Jets are playing the Chargers here. I'll do Shane's first, then I'll do me, and then we can keep it going. So Shane goes Jets. He's taking the Jets over the Chargers here. Who would have thought the Jets without Aaron Rodgers would be a playoff contender? Not me, but overall they are playing much better football than the Chargers, who have looked like they've been in a free fall. Zach Wilson has looked serviceable, which for him is fantastic. He doesn't stress the field like he does. He doesn't stretch the field like he does at BYU, but playing safe and underneath ball in a similar fashion to Alex Smith has really made a difference in the offense. If they can reestablish the run game with Breece Hall, they'll be a force, can make the playoffs. As far as the Sunday goes, I don't like the matchup of the Chargers secondary versus the Jets receivers, regardless of who's throwing the ball. I'm gonna go Jets here. I still don't trust the Chargers. I don't trust the Chargers coaching staff. I don't trust the Chargers as an organization. Justin Herbert actually has the most picks in the fourth quarter when the game is tied in the NFL.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure since he's entered the NFL too. It's just one of these things where it's like you look at Justin Herbert, he should be way better than they are. He should make that team better than they are. I don't know if it's just been years of bad coaching kind of been into him, but the Jets have a really, really, really good defense. Sauce Gardner should be able to handle Keenan Allen. They have a great front seven to stop Austin Eckler. I think they do just enough to make it an ugly game and come out with the win. Dan, what do you think?
So this is one of those games where the strengths match up against the strengths, and kind of surprisingly so. Right now, the Chargers, they've had a terrible run defense for years. but right now 6th in terms of yards allowed, where the Jets are 31st in terms of yards allowed. I feel like that's the opposite of what we think. And then on the opposite side, Jets are allowed 5th least passing yards, while the Chargers are allowing the most passing yards. So I am going to take the Chargers here, though. I think that they're just overall the better team, and I don't trust Zach Wilson to get it done. Garrett Wilson should have a huge day, though.
Yeah, I like it, man. But you couldn't get me to trust Brandon Staley if he came to me with $1 million.
You'll always
I don't blame you. They could
And I
barely
can't
beat
stand
up a
that dude.
terrible Giants team last week, though, running the ball 40-plus times. Just edged it out in OT.
Yeah, I think that was that was a neutral strip game for the both teams being in like a New York territory. I don't know. I think that was a weird little matchup there. Bahookie, what do you think about this game?
Yeah, I feel like I understand what you're saying. The scenario you described where they make it like an ugly game, that's like the only like looking in the Doctor Strange permutation, all the parallel. That's the only universe that the Jets win in. Is when they make it an ugly game. The Chargers, I feel like, have been the team who have been just consistently scoring more points and whatnot, and I feel like the Jets are at a point where they're finally starting to feel good about themselves, and kind of like what I was saying about the Panthers, and that is not what the Jets need. The Jets need to be pissed off, and like the fans feel like they're gonna have something to feel good about, and then they're gonna get a dose of reality this weekend, and they're gonna come back to earth. I'm gonna take the Chargers.
Word. That is our week 9 slate. We talked some trades, broke those down. Dan, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you for all the people who have watched this show. I hope you have a safe, fun, and happy Halloween to everybody here. Good night. I'm going to play our outro, and then you can get out of here.